Hey guys, welcome back to Boots and Bounty Homestead. Now, if you have been following us for about the last couple of months, you remember on our lives we had the little baby chickens back here behind us in the tote, sometimes with the heat lamp on, and then we transitioned them to just regular room air instead of using the heat lamp or anything like that. Well, a couple weeks ago it was time for them to go out. They had outgrown the space. The house is just a disaster. I'm still cleaning up little baby chicken feathers all over the house. So we had to make a rush to get a new coop built. Now, we received the rescue hens and put them in the coop we already had. Now that coop houses, it can house 12 to 15 chickens. It's about a 4 by 6-ish, something like that. And then it has the nesting boxes on the outside. So at max, no more than 15, and that would be pushing it. So right now we actually have 12 out there. So we cannot put any more chickens in that coop. So with the new baby chicks going outside, we had to build a coop. Well, in order to get the coop built and get the chickens out there, they were a little small for my concern of Big Red. I did not want our rooster to hurt the baby chicks. So what we decided, since the hens were picking on tucks, that we would put tucks, which is the little white silk, we would put tucks in with the little baby white chicks, the leghorns and the calico princesses. So that way he kind of had his own flock to tend to, and then Red had his own flock to tend to, and possibly down the road, maybe combine them a little bit later, but right now to keep them separated because of the age difference, the size difference, and the dominancy. So in order to do that, we needed to extend the run. So what we did, since this happened over a few days, I'm going to throw up some pictures throughout the video here showing you kind of what we did and talking you through the process. So we needed to extend the run because the chickens were actually in like a 10 by 20. And that's a little small for even the 13 chickens we had out there at the time, because the coop was inside of the run. Whereas at the other house, we had them set up, the coop was on the outside and the fence just kind of joined into the coop. And we accessed everything from the outside. Well, here with the predator issue, possibly, we haven't had any, but possibly, we wanted to go ahead and keep the coop inside the run, and that way that gave them some kind of shelter to get under just in case they needed to. So the first thing we had to do, of course, was we got fencing from my dad. Since he's no longer doing a whole lot of animals, a whole lot of gardening and stuff like that, he has a bunch of fencing, the chain link fence, and we went ahead and got a few rolls from him. So we laid them all out. We determined the size from what we had on hand to use, and then that way we built the coop with what we had, with minimal excess being wasted. So we ended up extending the current run from a 10 by 20 to a 20 by 20. And then with the extra fencing we had, we made that one into, I think it's a 20 by 30. And then we only had an excess of about 4 feet on one fence and then 20 feet on the other fence. But we put it in a position to where we're going to be able to use it for the garden. So I'll get to that later. But we extended both runs, made 2 separate runs with one fence down the middle that can be taken down. So we wanted it to where it could be one huge run if we wanted it to later. And both of them are accessible with just one gate at the moment. Just because we had to get it up so fast, we kind of had to plan around what we had in order to make it work. While we extended the run, we went ahead and allowed the red chickens to come over because we fenced in the new run first. And then that way the red chickens can come in, the Isa Browns and red, can go over there and kind of get some fresh grass and kind of scratch around the leaves, and they can kind of have a little more, free range. So while they were doing that, before we set up that middle fence, we went ahead, let them over in the new run, and then we started working on their half of the run. So like I said, the last couple of hours, we let them out, let them scratch and all that good stuff. Once they went in the coop, then it was time to take theirs down. So we had to untie everything, pull the T-post up, move the T-post. Well, actually, we already had those set up during the day. We went ahead and did that. So all we had to do was take down the fencing. We actually rolled it back up. We moved it where it needed to be and then put it back up. While they were already in the coop for the night, and they didn't bother us or anything, and we went ahead and finished closing up that middle section down between them, so that way they would come out and they would have their new run. So then came the job of building the coop. So I'm going to show you some hand drawings that I did of the coop and kind of step by step of how I had it in my mind to do. So that way I try not to forget any steps or run out of wood that we needed. I wanted to make sure we had everything. So we wanted to make sure that we, in my mind, I wanted to make sure that we started with the legs and the corners and the bottom, but I wanted to make it a 4x8 just so we could use one piece of plywood and not have to do a whole lot of cuts, especially with the wood and stuff like that. We wanted to kind of keep everything at even increments of either 2, 4, or 8. So we are doing a 4x8 coop. And then I want the nesting boxes on one end, the access door on the front side of the coop with a ramp that's actually going to act as the door as well. And then we want a large accessible clean out door on the other end. And the top is just going to be slanted from front to back, and there's nothing on the back side of the coop. Well, we started working on the coop, and my dad decides to show up. He didn't know we were actually doing the coop, but he decided to show up. And so he assisted with us in getting it put together a little bit faster. So we started with the legs. We started with the corners, got the frame all up, got the plywood down. And went ahead and decided to just close off 3 sides at the time. We had to do a little adjustment to what I had drawn to what we were actually using because of the materials. Now, we tend to build everything really big, really heavy. It's going to outlast us by probably 100 years. So the way I had planned it was to use 1-bys instead of a whole lot of 2-bys because that can get really heavy. Well, we ran into some issues where we put up 1x4 studs and it ended up being not enough support for the panels. So we ended up changing it and put in 2x4s, but we went ahead and turned them and used them as studs instead of just wall panels, and created them long enough to where we made the roof all in one piece. So what we did, and we left the 1x4s on there just for stabilization, and then right beside those we went ahead and put up 2x4s, cut them long enough to go ahead and create the slope for the roof. So they were taller in the front, shorter in the back. And then we went ahead and put up the joists across the top, or the rafters, whatever you guys want to call them. Not really like rafters, but just the rafter beam across the front attached to each stud. And then we put in the lathing for the tin roof. Now the tin we got from a friend, so it was free. And after we got the roof all put together, then we decided to just build the big door on the end and put the plywood on there just for the ramp. We're just laying it down at the moment just for them to have access in and out of the coop. So we built the big door with it just framed on a couple of hinges with a handle. We have a flip latch that we're using with a D-ring to open and shut it, and that's all we've done right now. So we will finish out the nesting boxes a little bit later. We'll bring you back for that. And then we've got to create that little door on the front that will be the final door. And that big door that we're using to let them in and out is actually going to be just a clean out door. So it's only going to be opened once every week or two, depending on, how dirty it gets. So now we're going to move into moving the baby chicks out. So we went ahead and loaded them up, and we are taking them out to the chicken pen. Here's a little clip of that.
You're way out to get me out. No. Leave me there.
And so once we get out there, we have them in these 2 cages because there's actually no wire around the front of the vent in the coop. And we're going to put up wire in the next day or 2. So don't worry about that. We'll get that fixed. But just to get them used to kind of their surroundings without just throwing them out there, letting them loose, not knowing what they're getting into. Because again, they've never been in a coop. They've only been in a tote in the house. We went ahead and left them in some dog kennels that we have that we transport chickens in. And left them closed inside the coop just for the night. Then we had to go to the red coop and get Tux. Bring Tux over and put him in the coop since he's a little more used to a coop. We waited till nighttime to be able to get Tux and put him into the coop. So once we put Tux in with the new baby chicks for the night, shut them up, we come out the next morning, and here is some footage of us actually releasing them. Don't mind my robe. It was too early in the morning.
He's like, what in the world?
So, come on.
Come on, girls.
Or that's one way to do it.
Come on. It's gonna take a minute. Come on. Come on. And Mama here don't want to store over here.
Right? The other one too. Where'd she go?
He's Tuck's eating. There's only one out.
No, two's out.
Another one came out.
Come on.
No, it didn't.
There's only one baby.
Oh, the white one came out.
Oh.
Look at him. He's so happy and scared at the same time.
That's the cage.
They got room to do that now.
And they may not even come out of the coop today. Who knows? Look at her.
Look.
No.
Look at her.
Look at him. They love to have room now.
Mm-hmm. I got the zoomies.
Hey, y'all would come out this door, y'all could do that too.
Okay, they're stuck behind the door. You want me to get that door? Emma,
The little one.
Emma, get the door. Right there.
Really?
Sister down here done figured it out.
She's a smart one.
That should be the room.
Come on, guys. Hey, y'all come this way.
So I just stand it up. They're gonna come back one way or the other.
That's what the hole's in.
Right?
Red light. What y'all doing to my baby?
Get off. Get off.
Drinking.
They're doing their little dance back there. That one. It's just gonna have it all. Are you ever come out this way?
Come on.
By any chance?
That's not up there.
They're dancing.
dancing. So you see that they are absolutely happy. Everything come together. We just got those finishing touches we got to do on the coop. Put the nesting boxes down because these chickens aren't going to be laying until probably May or June. So we have plenty of time to get the nesting boxes done and get that front door open with the ramp and all that stuff. So we'll bring you back for that. I hope you enjoyed this video, getting to see our baby chicks go out and what we had to do to get everything ready. I hope you enjoyed it. I hope your baby chicks are doing good if you have baby chicks. And let me know in the comments, how many chickens do you have? What are your plans for chickens? If you don't have any yet, I hope your dreams come through so soon and you get your little chickens out there and get them all pecking around and getting you some good fresh eggs. So guys, thanks for stopping by and we will see you on the next one. Bye!